Shalom. First and foremost, I'm going to give all praises, glory, and honor to Yahweh, by Hashem, Yahweh Shah, by Hashem, Mukakadash. I want to give double honors to the elder apostles of Great Millstone who rule well. And salutations and much love to the rest of you sincere Akim, pushing the word in truth and sincerity. This is the cleric Izar coming at you with another lesson. I'm continuing my lot to bring you my ongoing series from excerpts of Hollywood, This Factory of Perverseness. Another observation of predictive programming, how art imitates life and vice versa. Just a reminder, the purpose of my videos is to show correlations. Correlation is observation of a mutual relationship or a connection between two or more things. I use movie scenes to extract or extrapolate a narrative. I'm not glorifying the Hollywood culture or life. I have a wide knowledge of films, whether they be foreign or domestic, and I just use snippets as an example to bring out similarities and those correlations. I call this lesson, Queen Sheba Didn't Bear Children with King Solomon. The image I have on display is from a movie I watched in recent years. Of course, when I came to the truth, I reflected on this particular scene. Okay, this movie, or television series I should say, was released in 1997, directed by Roger Young. Ben Cross plays King Solomon, and Vivica Fox plays the Queen of Sheba, as you see here on this screen here. Now, I had the opportunity of meeting Vivica Fox, and I was already in the truth, so I mentioned this particular film to her, and she even said, when I told her, I was like, Queen Sheba didn't really sleep with King Solomon and bear children. And she mentioned, she says, that's Hollywood for you. But it's well known in biblical history that the visit did happen. So King Solomon did gain a reputation as a wise judge and a keeper of an impressive court. And the Queen of Sheba did journey far to meet this wise wonder. Now, I usually don't do videos on biblical films because we know how inaccurate they are with the whitewashing. But this account of the queen bearing children with King Solomon is very inaccurate. Okay? And only in recent times have they had the Queen Sheba being played by women of color. And I'm only familiar with two separate occasions where they've done this. Another movie titled Solomon and Sheba was released in 1995, where Halle Berry had played Queen Sheba. This particular film was in 1997, just bearing the title of Solomon. And like I said, the Queen Sheba was played by Vivica Fox. So I can only think of two different films where they had a dark-skinned Queen Sheba. But in the story, in the biblical account, the queen sets off with a large retinue to visit the wise and cultivated Solomon and to admire his magnificent city. Now, this admiration turns out to be mutual according to Hollywood and to the fictional account. And the fictional account is that Solomon was captivated by her beauty. He fell deeply in love with her. And the two of them had a child called Menelik. And one day, Queen Sheba decides to leave. And she doesn't want Menelik to be deprived of the regal dignity awaiting him in his home country. So King Solomon stays behind with the child with a heavy heart. Now, according to real life, this falsehood has created an inaccurate historical account where the Ethiopian rulers continue to trace their connection to this particular event right up to the last 20th century Emperor Haile Selassie. And according to tradition, the Ethiopian Jews, or Beta Israel, the Falaja Jews, trace their ancestry back to Menelik, this fictional son of King Solomon and Queen Sheba. And this ancestry does not exist. And for centuries, this lie has been perpetrated in their history, that the emperors of Ethiopia claim to be descendants of King Solomon through Queen Sheba. But we use the Bible to bring up this historical account of this particular visit. And as the scriptures say, 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 21 says, "Prove all things, hold fast that which is good." And that's what I tend to do. And I want to thank once again the elders and apostles of Great Millstone, along with their teachers, to bringing me to this truth. we even have our own people, specifically the 2/3 of our people, that don't have a clear understanding of who the true biblical Israelites are, or even who the true Jews are. They don't go into the diaspora or even the blessings and the curses of the Israelites as pertaining to Deuteronomy chapter 28. But there's nowhere in the scriptures that exists where it says that these two individuals slept together or even had children together. The Bible is very clear on this. Okay. Like I said, the visit did happen, and this particular visit is in 1 Kings chapter 10, verse 2, as well as 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verses 1 through 9. And it talks about the queen coming with camels bearing spices and very much gold with precious stones. And she came to prove King Solomon with hard questions, and Solomon answered these questions to her satisfaction. They exchanged gifts. After that, she returned to her own land. It clearly says that. I'm going to read 2 Chronicles chapter 9, verse 12, where it reads, "And King Solomon gave to the queen of Sheba all her desire, whatsoever she asked, beside that which she had brought unto the king. So she turned and went away to her own land, she and her servants." Okay, so this whole part of, even in this film, they do show that Queen Sheba arrives, she has her royal court, and King Solomon, shows her all around his city and the kingdom and his servants and so forth. And she observed this magnificence. But in this particular film, they get alone, and Queen Sheba, played by Vivica Fox here, she's on the beach with him, and she goes walking into the water. She turns around, looks at him with these googly eyes of hers, and she drops her robe, and King Solomon drops his robe, and they go into the water and supposedly make love. But that didn't happen. All right, and how do we know that? Well, nowhere in the scriptures do you see the word begat, all right, or begot. All right, when you clearly go into Matthew chapter 1, verse 1 and 2, it reads, "The book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach, the son of David, the son of Abraham." Verse 2, "Abraham begot Isaac, and Isaac begot Jacob, and Jacob begot Judas and his brethren." Okay, so that begot is very important, all right, even is mentioned again in the earlier books of the Old Testament. When you go into Genesis chapter 11, verse 27, talking about Terah's descendants, verse 27 reads, "Now these are the generations of Terah. Terah begot Abram, Nahor, and Haran begot Lot." Now, when you go into the definition of begot, which I'm going to do right now, bear with me just a moment. I'm going to play it for you here.
Strong's H3205, Yalad.
Okay, now the different words for that would be, for begot was to bear, born, bring forth, travail, midwife, child, delivered, born, birth, labor, brought up. Okay. To cause or help to bring forth, to assist or tend as a midwife, to beget a child, to bear a child, to declare one's birth. Okay. So from what I just brought up here from the Old Testament and the New Testament, you see where that word begot is used. And it talks about that birth. Nowhere does it say Queen Sheba begat Menelik, or it goes into the genealogy of King Solomon having this child named Menelik. Okay, that I don't believe that word's even in the Bible, or that name. Okay, now Yahushua even referred to the queen's long journey to meet the wise king, noting that his own people were ignoring one who was greater than Solomon, which was himself. When you read Matthew chapter 12, verse 42, in the chapter titled "The Sign of Jonah," it's even described in Luke chapter 11, verse 29 through verse 32. I'm going to go into Matthew chapter 12, verse 42, and it reads, "The queen of the south," which was Queen Sheba, "shall rise up in the judgment with this generation, and shall condemn it, for she came from the uttermost parts of the earth to hear the wisdom of Solomon, and behold, a greater than Solomon is here." Okay, so like I said, Yahushua was mentioning that his own people were ignoring who he was, and he was even greater than King Solomon because he was a descendant of King Solomon. Okay, now if Yahushua referred to the queen, why didn't he refer to her as a family member, or even reference the offspring that these Falacia Jews talk about? Because basically it's a lie. All right, and we don't own any historical records to say if anyone is an Israelite or not, but it's all a spiritual thing. How do we know that? When you read Romans chapter 8, it speaks of the heirs of Mashiach. And verse 16 reads, Romans 18, verse 16, the Spirit itself beareth witness with our spirit. All right, see, it's a spiritual thing, that we are the children of the Most High. Verse 17, and if children, then heirs of the Most High, and joint heirs with Mashiach, if so be that we suffer with him, that we may be also glorified together. Okay, and I'm going to end it on this. All right, in the New Testament, in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 4, it reads, neither give heed to fables and endless genealogies, which minister questions, rather than godly edifying, which is in faith, so do. Okay, so it all deals with faith, and like I said earlier, it deals with the spirit. Okay, but this historical account is totally inaccurate. It's a total falsehood. It's a lie. All right. Once again, I'm telling this lesson. Queen Sheba didn't bear children with King Solomon. Okay. Well, I just want to share that. Lord willing, this lesson was edifying. I want to give all praises to Yahweh by Hashem Yahushai, who gives me the strength and the spirit to continue to strive and endure in these last days. Shalom to the hopeful elect, and on to the next video.